Okay.
So we disconnected about a minute ago.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. We're back.
Oh, we're back? Okay, cool. Let me just refresh here. Oh, there we go.
Fantastic. All right. I have been experiencing some network instability since everyone and their cat are working from home right now.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully we'll get back up
Okay.
better now. Also,
okay,
it is a
cool.
little bit after 10.
Mm-hmm.
Give me just a second. I want to check something.
We could continue the conversation. I know we're doing a part 2.
Okay, yeah, excellent. No, we can continue. I just wanted to, there was something else I had going on that I wanted to make sure was not time sensitive.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We can do another half hour.
I think we missed part of your story, unfortunately. But just to recap really quickly, 2016, you asked a Google Assistant about Black Lives Matter, and it said something just sort of vague. And
it deflected.
I asked recently, and I think it did do a better job.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's also because of the traction that BLM, and I hate to use that word when it comes to such an uprising and a great movement like Black Lives Matter, and protest for justice, obviously, but maybe that's also why, right? Because these are still commercial assets and entities. So, okay, cool. Yeah, so we were just talking about, although the rationale behind such a design is to take a neutral stance, avoidance and deflection of complex social issues can actually symbolize either endorsement, trivialization, or devaluation of the topic or an individual's experience. Yeah, cool. All right.
The use of CAs within mental health services is another area where critical reflection is required. The gap between the demand for mental health services and lack of available resources, as well as the cost efficiency and seemingly non-judgmental nature of CAs, make them seem an attractive solution. So I know that at least in Washington State, we have critically overwhelmed mental health systems. There's a mental health hospital in the state that's been over capacity for years and has had a lot of problems. So, big problem.
Yeah.
I don't know what the situation's like in your neck of the woods, Mady, but
yeah, huge problem for sure. I don't know that mental health assistants are, I'm not even going to say substitute, but I don't even know if they're effective ways to augment mental health services.
Yeah. Well, let's see what they say, and then we can jump back in. So far, CAs have been bestowed with responsibilities including screening, diagnosis, and treat. Oh, I think there should be a comma there, including screening, diagnosis, and treatment of mental health.
Yep.
Don't feel great about that.
Screening and diagnosis. Screening, maybe, if you're trying to do risk assessment or something like that, because I know hospitals are currently obviously inundated. So doing a risk assessment, just answering a few questions to see whether or not you should actually speak to a medical professional. Someone on the medical team might be a way to do it, but yeah, I agree with you. I don't very much know about diagnosis. Definitely not treatment. Yeah.
And even just thinking about, just for example, autism is much less likely to be correctly diagnosed in women than it is in men. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
This is not my area of specialization, but I want to say the majority of women with autism aren't diagnosed until adulthood, because it sort of displays very differently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
I don't know that automating diagnoses based on guidelines that are already failing people when it administers by humans, and automating that process is going to be better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally agree.
Despite being perceived as less stigmatizing, CAs might actually pose harm to users due to their limited capacity to recreate human interaction and provide tailored treatment, especially if they are not continually audited and evaluated. I would agree that is very important.
Yeah.
But also, that imposes serious privacy concerns, right? Like your discussions with health professionals and mental health professionals are, at least in the US, protected. So adding in a layer of auditing is a big privacy thing.
Yeah. And how you store that data, who gets to access that data, all of that is yeah. I mean,
not trivial.
Right. And having just an on-prem solution isn't saying anything really. So yeah, definitely not trivial. I don't know that we have an answer, obviously, but right. Yeah. Huge issue.
And I think there's a lot of like apps that are assistants, and a lot of them have like it's just something that I'm sort of curious about, like a professional curiosity, so I've looked into a couple of them. A lot of them have like a really pushy monetization strategy where like, oh, you can talk to the assistant for a little bit, but if you want to talk to a human, it's $50 an hour through our system or whatever.
Yeah.
And I like the American healthcare system has its own stuff, but it is feels not great.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because, as the next sentence says, mental health services meet people at their most vulnerable. Consequently, any conversational interactions with such users need utmost ethical and critical attention. Absolutely. However, ongoing evaluation for harms and benefits, which is essential for ethical and responsible practice, is absent in many digital platforms and apps for mental health. Citation. Unfortunately, this is not limited to this application domain. Among the varied applications of CAs, one common reoccurring theme is lack of critical assessment. Evaluation of the use of CAs often mentions the importance of ethical considerations, but fails to explicitly discuss such concerns or provide mechanisms to address them, such as in citation.
Well, yeah.
And hell on Earth is, sorry if I said that wrong, said, sure would be dangerous area to get wrong.
Yeah. Good point.
I think if I were going to develop a mental health assistant, I would pitch it as like interactive journaling, right? This is not like working with a therapist. This is not like working like a professional. This is a way for you to like have assisted self-reflection.
That is such a good point. And I think that is the perfect way to, again, like augment mental health services. You can't, I mean, it's so problematic to call it a mental health assistant or a diagnosis assistant, I think. But I think interactive journaling would be such a great way to do it.
Maybe with like a little timer notification that's like, if you have medication, take it.
You
can set up custom.
Yeah, something that's like, interactive that way. And then obviously they get to have all of that data and they can share it with their therapist if they wish to do so.
Also, apparently it's hello near this. And I said it very, very, very wrong. This person's username. Sorry about that. But yeah, and then you have like control over your data. It's also something I would only do locally.
For sure. And then you get to share it if you want with your therapist. So you can like read it together. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I'll do the next one. There have been numerous approaches proposed to implement ethical decision-making for AI agents. Some argue the best approach is within the context of safety engineering, whereby safety mechanisms are used to mitigate harmful impact of AI systems. Okay, safety engineering.
Safety engineering.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not very familiar with that also, but it's capitalized, so I feel like it's probably something that exists that I'm not familiar
Wikipedia.
with. Yeah.
An engineering discipline which ensures that engineered systems provide acceptable levels of safety. It is strongly related to industrial engineering, system engineering, and the subset system safety engineering. Safety engineering assures that a life-critical system behaves as needed even when components fail. So you would have it for like the International Space Station.
Oh, so this makes sense. Obviously on like oil and gas rigs and so forth, you have safety engineers. Oh, I didn't think that. Okay. Yeah. Again, like, different discipline, you have no idea what it means.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Others argue for a machine ethics approach, which involves encoding ethical standards and reasoning into the AI systems themselves.
I'm actually going to scroll down to those citations because I have
Yeah.
read some
Yeah.
of this work. It was 332, right?
Yep.
This is the worst friggin' way to do citations.
Social Ethics in Artificial Intelligence, AI, and Society.
In Society.
2017. Oh, interesting. Okay.
132. Managing ethical and risk implications and the rapid advances of artificial intelligence in a lit review.
Portland.
Hikmet, IEEE. I think I've read the Bond paper, but I don't know that I've read that other one. Where are we?
The end of section 1.